Hello, I'm Kirk with Precision Draperies Education to show you what it takes to make a custom drapery. By means it's not the only way, but you'll have a clear understanding of what's involved in making a custom drapery that meets WCA standards. Thanks for listening, and I hope you enjoy the video. Fabric is first rolled out on a flat drapery table, which is usually about 60 wide and 120 inches long. As the fabric is being rolled out, it is also inspected and smoothed out and look for any imperfections in the fabric. This particular person likes to do her cuts where she folds them in half and sets the cut towards the bottom and lines up the left to the right side. And once that's done, all the cutting is done at the end of the table. Now that the fabric's been cut, since we're making a pair of threes, you have to split one of the widths in half in order to make a pair of threes. Now the fabric, once it's been split, is taken over to a serger, where a serger cuts the salvage edge off and sews it all in one task, as you can see here. Once the seams have been serged, you need to press them out, so that way your drape hangs better. In this step, to help sew the crinoline across the top, what we're going to do is you take the two fabrics, the lining and the face fabric, and sandwich them together with the faces inside. Now, we're actually going to sew the crinoline to the top of the drapery. Now that it's been pinned, it's much easier to hold the fabric and the lining and the crinoline together. To help form the crinoline at the top, you need to press it once with the fabric at the very top and the lining at the bottom. That helps set it, and then flip it where the fabric and the lining is together, and it helps form the top. Here she's calculating for the pleats and the spaces, and the way she's doing, she takes the rod width and the flat width, and the flat width is the fabric that's laying out on the table. Once she does that, she takes the calculations and pins it to the fabric.
And I'm going to very securely pin it so that when I get down on the bottom, I can pull it.
Here, you're basically squaring up the fabric on the table, and you match up the seam on the line of your table, press it, cut off any salvages that are needed, and pull to take out any ripples in the fabric. Now we're going to go ahead and set in our double 4-inch hem on the bottom. She's cutting any excess fabric needed, and she's putting a weight wherever there is a seam. And she's going to fold it over to the finished length for the drapery. She sets this line in first, Then she's going to fold it up to the press line and over, and this will make your double 4-inch hem.
Since this is blackout, I've already hemmed in my lining with a single needle. Otherwise, I would do this at the table too to save time. But on blackout, I don't like to do it on the hemmer because it tears out, so I put it in with a single needle. And we're going to roll in our side hems.
Now we're going to go ahead and press in a double 1.5-inch side hem. What she's doing here first, she's going to fold it over the 3-inch. That sets it in. Then she's going to tuck that under to form her 1.5-inch double side hem. Now that the drape is wider than the table, it has to be moved in order to finish preparing the other side for the hem. And you have to repin it all over again. Now that she has it on the table, she smooths it out just as before, pulls it, tugs it, presses it, and continues to pull out any ripples. Same procedure as before. Folds it up to set the finished length, then folds it over to make her double 4-inch hem. Once again, the lining is smoothed out. Now we're going to go ahead and set in the other 1.5-inch double side hem as before. Same procedure, nice and pressed out.
Here's our pins. We don't have to take the pins out because we put them in sideways. You use a hammer, you have to pull this way, but you have to pull this way at the same time. Otherwise, your fabric's not going to lay straight. You have to pull when you blind hem. You have to, now this is what you want. So you
Now all we have left is the bottom hem, and then we'll be moving on to the next step. Remember back in step 8, marking the pleats? Now she's sewing them in on a straight stitch machine.
front, this is the back. These have to be sewn in by hand. Take it, we measure from pleat to pleat. Here I am, 26 3/4. Perfect.
The next step is to actually pinch pleat the 3-finger in place, and that procedure is done just like this. The next step is to mark where the hooks go, and once marked, you take the hooks and hook the entire drape.
Want to make sure we get the first folds nice and even. All I gotta do is tie it, sew my corners by hand, and tack it. I'll show you how to do it. You don't want to tie them too tight because you don't want to put wrinkles in your drape.
Now on this machine, we're actually going to bar tack the 3-finger pleats in. So you see, making a custom drapery is not so easy. Many of the steps are done by hand and they're labor intense. It is an art to making a custom drapery that meets WCA standards. So please go visit WCAA.org and let's start setting standards for this industry. Please go visit, God, you know, I forgot a step. I forgot an art. Forgot the art. Please go visit www.wcaa.org.com.